Hey, actors, it's Jeffrey Dreisbach, and this is Casting Actors Cast. Today's topic is one that becomes a big part of the industry today, and that is self-tapes. You know them, you probably do them a lot, and maybe, just maybe, you're wondering what they're really saying about you. So buckle up, because I'm going to tell you what your self-tape reveals before you even start reading your first line. This is Casting Actors Cast.
Casting Actors Cast, what a show! With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
We're going to kick off the show right after this. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. As I said in the introduction, I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. I'm a casting director with McCorkle Casting in New York. How are you? If you haven't done so already, please check out the website, castingactorscast.com. Also, you can drop me a hello, a question, a line, whatever you want. It's castingactorscast@gmail.com. The website has all kinds of stuff there. I'm not going to go into all the details, but there's a form that says dive into the talent pool. If you do that, that's going to open up some freebies for you. You're going to also see my book called Booked It, the Actor's Playbook for Getting Cast. You'll also see a course on auditioning. It's a very extensive course, and I really have to tell you, it's doing quite well. People are really enjoying it. So I think if you want to check that out, I think you might find it pretty valuable. So let's dive into this, the self-tape, what it really does say about you. And I can tell you, after viewing thousands of self-tapes, that the information I'm providing you is based on that experience. So don't kind of be dismissive of a lot of self-tape viewing. Has really produced some very specific thoughts that you can literally change the way you do the work. What we call first impressions in the digital world, because it's kind of freaky, right? It's a two-dimensional environment. You're in a flat screen. But when your self-tape hits my inbox, just remember that it's your first and sometimes it's your only chance to make an impression. And so before I even hit play, I've already learned something about you from, okay, I'm going to say it, from your file name. I learned so much from your slate. I learn so much from the way you frame yourself or your lighting. That's right. Your tape speaks volumes before you do. So what we see before you speak, let me just say that your setup reflects your standards. I promise you, no one expects a Hollywood studio, but a clear frame, a simple background, decent lighting. They say, I care about my craft when I see it. If your camera's at an odd angle or the lighting makes you look like you're in the witness protection program, well, that says something too. When you label the tape and you're going to send it, you're sending a link to the file to the casting director. Understand that your labeling speaks volumes. If the file name says final_final_real loan 1.mov, guess what that tells me? It tells me you're rushing. If it says Jeffrey Dreisbach _audition_name of role, see, I know you're professional and organized. That's true. Your energy in the slate, for example. Your slate tells me if you're relaxed, if you're friendly and present, or if you're just reciting your name through clenched teeth. Don't underestimate that. Also, I'm still getting so many self-tapes where you're making your name a question. Hi, I'm Jeff Dreisbach. You know what? For everybody listening to this, I promise you, put a period at the end of your name and you're going to make a huge impact. Hi, I'm Jeff Dreisbach. When you put a period at the end of your name, you're not projecting insecurity like that upspeak does. It really serves as a great grounding element for your acting, I promise you. Now, many of you are not even aware that you're doing it. So please give that some practice. Give that a little bit of time. I think you're going to find it extremely helpful. All right, now, during the scene on your self-tape, here's what we pick up instantly. When I press play, I am not looking for perfection, I promise you. Guess what I'm looking for? I'm looking for presence. Here's what I notice most: listening. Are you really connected or just saying your words, saying your lines? Framing. Is your eye line natural and your camera at the right height? For example, for film and television, the camera frame needs to be at your chest up. We only want a little bit of headroom. The headroom is the space between the top of the head and the top of the frame. That makes a big difference. Also, being asymmetrical in the frame, looking in the direction of where there's more space. That is a perfect frame, whether it's for theater, which would be from the waist up, or film and television. Moving on from there, transitions. Do your emotions that you're playing within your character shift believably? I talk about gear shifts all the time in several episodes, and I would hope that you'd want to go back and check out some of these previous episodes about doing self-tapes. There's a lot of information that I'm just not going to get to or repeat today. But if you're relatively new to listening, you can go back into the archives, right? castingactorscast.com, and you can check all of the episodes out. But anyway, the transitions. It's about the emotional shift. When you go from one thought to another, are you clear? Or let's talk about authenticity. Too many times I see actors trying too hard, or they're letting the truth land very, very quietly, almost too quietly. You see, your self-tape should say, I know the craft, I respect the process, and I'm someone you can trust to deliver. That's what I need to know in your self-tape. So I'm going to come back in just a moment with the story your self-tape tells. Welcome back. Every self-tape tells a story beyond the script. You see, a rush tape says, I didn't make time for this. A well-prepared one says, I value this opportunity. A creatively alive one says, I love the work. That's what I call the joy of performance. When I see that, that's another layer that I am definitely attracted to as a casting director. Guess what? Casting directors can tell the difference between a good performance and one in which you love playing the character. We can know that instantly. We can tell that absolutely instantly. So, how to let your self-tape speak well for you. That's our next segment. One, prepare the moment before. You see, when you hit record, you need to be absolutely ready. When you're nervous, that grounded beat before starts right away and tells me that you're not focused. When you ground yourself and give me a clear moment before, you are very much grounded. And I am with you from the very beginning of that audition. Number two, please be generous to your reader. If someone's helping you, I need you to listen to them. I need them to pull your attention. It's all about connection, especially in this kind of two-dimensional weirdness called self-tape. You're putting yourself completely into the scene. Speaks volumes about your technique as an actor. Number three, keep your text simple and clean. Please do yourself a favor. Avoid gimmicks. Let your acting do the storytelling. I can't tell you how many times I'm seeing transitions from the slate into the acting. It's almost like it's so overproduced. It's drawing attention to itself and not drawing attention to where it needs to be drawn to, which is you and how you're playing the part. Number four, end naturally. I don't want you to break character too quickly. That little extra beat of stillness at the end is cinematic gold. I've got a story about that. I once received a self tape from an actor. This was an actor I didn't know. The background was very simple, but her energy was really calm and confident and alive. She made a small, beautiful choice at the end of the scene. She looked just very focused, and she took a quiet breath and didn't rush to cut. That extra second told me everything about her patience and her instinct, and yeah, she booked it. She did. So I have some closing thoughts. So what does your self-tape say about you? Hopefully that you're focused, that you're prepared, and that you're passionate, that you bring care to the work, and that even though a screen, you make us feel something real. Remember, you're not judging your technical setup. We're not judging your technical setup. We're judging your connection. And that, my friends, oh, baby, that's what gets you remembered. Thanks for tuning into Casting Actors Cast. If today's episode helped you see self-tapes in a new light, share it with your actor friends. Leave a review. Boy, it really does help if you leave a review, especially on iTunes. That's sort of the gold standard. Speaking of gold standards, it would really help me get to more actors who might avail themselves to this podcast effort on my part. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Jeffrey Dreisbach reminding you, stay creative, stay authentic, and keep that camera rolling, because your next tape might just be the one that books it. Bye for now.
It's been great having you in our talent pool today. Your support means the world to us, so please consider sharing, liking, and reviewing this episode wherever you jump in. I'm Megan Grace Martinez. Thanks.
From monologues to